time, fools.
Hey fools, T here with another commentary, and this one I'm going to be asking you guys, you Nintendo fans, I'm begging you, Nintendo fans, to not let these dudes steal your joy. Come on, guys, if I have to beg and plead, do the symphony. Which I know about the Eddie Murphy Raw. But anyway, obviously we're just a couple of days away from the Nintendo Switch's launch. It's so close, I can smell it, I can taste it, I can feel those Joy-Cons in my hand. And what are Nintendo fans talking about? Nonsense. What are you guys doing? Breath of the Wild's coming. The year for the Switch looks pretty damn good. Now, granted, the launch is lacking. Outside of Breath of the Wild, not much. Not much as far as earth-shattering games and stuff, you know. I'm super excited for Super Bomberman R, but not everybody's a Bomberman fan. And, you know, it's an old-school game. You got some sprinkled in indies. You got Just Dance and, you know, other, you know, casual games and stuff like that. But there's not a lot to be overly excited about. But I'm always excited when new Nintendo hardware drops. And I think specifically this hardware is so cool, you know, like the tech as far as how much they were able to fit into that little, you know, a little tablet device, and, you know, the Joy-Cons and all the cool tech that's inside those bad boys like HD Rumble. And to me, it's just pretty exciting. I'm very excited for Breath of the Wild, and not everybody's a Zelda fan, so maybe not everybody who may pick up a Switch at some point aren't that excited. But to be mired in, I mean, there are things to have grievances about, but to be mired in like what features it has at launch, like I can go over, you know, how many consoles didn't come with such and such features, but you already know, like, what is the point of me doing that? So let me dig into a little bit as far as, like, you know, people claim to be, you know, upset about having no web browser at launch. And there was a time where having a web browser was very convenient for me, you know, on a video game console. Basically, when the Wii U came out, I used to use that browser a lot, but in the years following, subsequently, I got my iPad. I use that way more than anything. I got smart TVs in my house, 3 of them. They all have all those apps on them. I have a smart Blu-ray player. It has the apps on it. You know, I have Xbox One and PS4 as well, but I don't even use those for that kind of stuff. I don't use them for multimedia. I bought the game console to play games. You know, if you care about multimedia in your console, I can understand where that would be an issue, but at the end of the day, that's like icing on the cake. Like, I'm concerned about the cake. I want to play video games. And, you know, I'm a dinosaur, so I am not going to have the same I mean, this is all subjective. There's no right, there's no facts about this. This is all subjective. If you care about that stuff, you care about it. If you don't, you don't. There's no right or wrong in it. I just happen to not care about that. I get excited about a console for what games it plays and how it plays those games. And just thinking about having a console that I can take anywhere and play it without a TV, I mean, that's just very cool to me. And that's the stuff that concerns me more. I would think that's the main concern of most Nintendo fans, because that's kind of how we've been brought up. That's how we've been kind of groomed and whatnot by Nintendo. Gameplay over everything else, games over everything else. If anything, my biggest issue with the Wii U was not, you know, what online didn't work and, you know, what it didn't have with that. My biggest issue is that I didn't get enough core big first party Nintendo games on it. That was my biggest issue with it. I'm not going to have the same grievances as some other guy might have. Who cares about all that stuff? I never wanted my console to become a watered down PC or a multimedia box. That was not appealing to me. When I hear people, you know, talk about gimmicks, especially with the Wii, about the Wiimote, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's a gimmick," and I'm like, "Okay, but isn't DVD playback a gimmick?" Like, to me, that was one of the biggest gimmicks of all time, is DVD playback, because at least with the motion controls, you may agree or disagree with their implementation and liking them when you're playing video games, or disliking them, but at least it had something to do with video games. It had something to do with gameplay. DVD playback has nothing to do with video games. It has nothing to do with gameplay. Netflix and Hulu has nothing to do with video games or gameplay. So to me, multimedia stuff is way more bigger of a gimmick than HD Rumble or taking my gaming on the go. That's just me. That's just how I feel. That's how I've always felt. This is nothing new. If you dig into my, my old videos, you'll find the same sentiment. So this is what YouTube is. You can speak your mind. People can air their grievances, and that's fine. People shouldn't act like their subjective opinion is the way of the world and it's facts and it's right. It's your subjective opinion. But I'm begging the Nintendo fan, to not get mired in this stuff and, not let people steal your joy. Don't let these cons steal your joy. And I'm using cons lightly because it's cute language. It's obviously a play on the Joy-Con. So it's nothing serious. So, but, just don't, you've seen the articles from different websites. You've seen the just nonsense clickbait crap from other channels and whatnot. I'm not going to get into that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. And it's just garbage. Like, it's just noise, either to pull you in, obviously for clicks and whatnot, because the Switch is getting so much airtime, so much play. I've seen channels that have 250,000 plus subscribers, that before the Nintendo Switch, they were struggling to get 8 to 10,000 views per video. 250,000 subscribers. They basically at that level, your channel was basically dead. But when the Switch came out, when the name came out and the cool trailer came out back in October, these guys started covering that stuff and their videos blew up. They gained more subs and their channel and their videos started getting way more hits and views. Some people are opportunists and they want to come up through that. I'm a Nintendo fan and I've always been. That's what my channel's about. So I'm going to cover, anything Nintendo. So it's natural for me. But to see channels that weren't even Nintendo channels, like, most of their feed is like Nintendo videos. What's going on there. So just don't be conned out of your joy, man. Just enjoy what, like if you have a legitimate issue with something, speak it. I mean, that's what this, that's what YouTube allows. That's what this venue of YouTube allows. For the size of that device to have as much power as it has, some people speculate like just under Xbox One. I mean, lay that thing on top of an Xbox One and see the difference. Even the PS4, like all that tech squished down into that device, and that device can do so many cool things. Like, why aren't you celebrating that? Why isn't that the thing to be talking about? To me, that's what you should be talking about. But I'm not here to tell people what to talk about. I'm not really even here to tell people what not to talk about and how to, they should feel. But I guess I kind of am doing that because I just feel like it's silly to be worried about stuff that, if you want to complain about the games, please, by all means. Obviously, there aren't enough on launch day, but N64 had 2 games at launch. And while it wasn't as popular as the Super Nintendo, it was a very popular and profitable console for Nintendo. And then you had the GameCube, which had, a bunch of really good launch titles at launch, day one. And it fared less than N64 before it. So, there's no real formula to this stuff. There's no real formula to success. There's certain tenements, obviously, you got to have there. You got to have a variety of games and all that stuff. But, launch titles and launches, like most launches don't have that really good of games, compelling software. Nintendo has always had really compelling software lineups, except for maybe the Wii U. Like, they've had at least one game that was just a wow, you got to have this game. This is a killer app, as they say. They're one of the few console makers that always seem to have that killer app. We got Breath of the Wild at launch. That is a killer app. Yes, it's on the Wii U, but Wii U only hasn't sold 14 million yet. So there's a lot of people who won't have access to that game and who won't buy a Wii U and maybe look at the Switch and be like, yo, man, I can get Breath of the Wild on my Switch, and that's a cool thing. I'm just saying the guys who are happy and, very happy with the Switch, don't let anybody steal your joy. Like, enjoy the Switch for what it is and be happy. And that's all I gotta say for this video. What do you guys think? I didn't really want to make this video, but I did. I don't think it's negative to talk about these things either. I'm just saying I want to focus on, I got a bunch of videos I want to do. I wanted to focus on those more. So that's why I would say I didn't want to make this video, because I got other videos that I do want to make, so that I feel are more important. So yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you fools next time. Nobody gonna break on my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Oh yeah, one more thing. Play Nintendo, fools.